Hello, everybody. It's Randy Selzer here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Brent Bowers is joining us today. He is a real estate investor and a real estate coach. He's based down in the United States, currently in Florida, and he has a specialty. Brent specializes in helping folks to buy and sell vacant land. And Brent, I have a confession to make here, man. I have a confession. I've been in the industry 31 years. Okay. I'm really old. And I have helped hundreds and hundreds of people to buy property over the years. I have never, me personally, I have never helped anyone or myself to buy vacant land. I'm in an urban area, so you have to go out quite far to find vacant land. But this is going to be interesting, man. I'm going to learn stuff from you today. I know. And I think folks listening in, listen to Brent because he's got a lot of good tips he's going to share with us today and reasons why buying vacant land might make a whole lot of sense. So, welcome, Brent. Nice to have you on board today.
Randy Selzer, thanks for having me. Thanks for all that you're doing and for educating us and putting on this amazing podcast.
Thank you, sir. No problem. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself, your background, like where did you grow up, and a little bit about your history before we get started?
Yeah, so I grew up in a small cattle town called Okeechobee, Florida. We had some Canadians that would they would come escape y'all's wintertime to come to Florida. We call it the Canadian Village, which is amazing. Actually, they call it that.
We call them snowbirds. It's not a bad idea. It snowed here today, so it's not a bad idea. Believe me.
Absolute most brilliant thing you can actually do, honestly, because I'm sure half the year in Canada you guys have the utmost most beautiful weather and beautiful country, and then the other half of the year in Florida, honestly, we got about 3 months. It's January, February, March in Florida is the most beautiful. But I grew up in Okeechobee, Florida. Joined the military after a couple years of trying to do real estate and failing in 2008, and then I ended up getting.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you very much. And started building my land investing business in 2016 when I had enough of the military, and I was preparing for my third combat deployment, and I was tired of being away from home. This time there was 2 kids involved and a beautiful lady that wanted to see me. And I'd already had one divorce, so I didn't need a second one on my record. So I started, going down the rabbit hole of investing in vacant raw land, and it was so much different than what everyone else was doing in real estate, and that's what I loved about it. And it was wildly profitable, and it still is. And now we built enough passive income with people paying us monthly on our land that we've sold. I can now help other people buy and sell their own vacant land and start their own businesses and do kind of what I did. And I really found my stride in that. I love coaching people and getting them their first deal. But that's why we're here today. I'm here to hopefully we can help someone with this podcast.
Excellent. Well, we were just talking a little bit before we started recording, and the one thing, whatever country you're in, I believe, and I think you'll agree, that real estate is universal. Whether you're in Canada, the U.S., or any other country. People want to own stuff. They want to own property, whether it's a house or a condominium or vacant land. Now, I may be a little ignorant here. You're going to have to help me out, Brent, okay?
I doubt it.
I don't know. My assumption was always that buying vacant land was very much a long-term play. Right?
I love that.
Buy, 100 acres or whatever, 58, whatever. You buy some land, hopefully strategically, positioned so that down the road, I know some people that own property, they own vacant land that they didn't buy through me, but it's near the city. And so now, 20 years later, they have developers calling them, offering them like outrageous amounts of money for this property, which they haven't sold yet. But it's a long-term play. I talk to a lot of investors every day who they want to buy a house that they can rent out.
They want to make money right away.
Right. They want that cash flow. So what do you say to someone who comes into you and says, you know what, we understand it's less expensive, like we can buy some land, but what would be the benefits of buying vacant land, vacant property?
Yeah, and that idea that you had as well, long term, I always saw it as well. I never saw how people would even make money with land. No one was going after the vacant land. No one was making money with it. And I had urgent need to make money right away. And how I learned about land was on a podcast just like this. And the gentleman was talking about doubling his money overnight. And I was like, that's not even possible with real estate. So I put it to the test. I started reaching out to people that were behind on their taxes with their land. And in Florida, not in Florida, in the United States, we have to pay taxes on our land. I'm sure it's similar in
here too.
Canada.
Yep.
And
Sure.
I work with quite a few Canadians actually that buy a lot of U.S. land. Land in the United
Canadians
States.
love to buy property in the U.S. Okay, anyway,
Yeah.
we'll go forward with that, but that's for sure true.
I think it's that way with a lot of countries. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people buying United States land, and just they're sitting on it because they have the capital to do it. I never had the capital to do that. I needed my money to make money immediately. Heck, I didn't even have any money, so I had to figure out a way to make money right away. So I was mailing people behind on their taxes. That's how I started, and things have changed quite a bit since then. But I was mailing people and they were returning my call and they said, sure, I'll sell you the land. It's not buildable or it's not accessible or it's landlocked. And I was like, well, let me see if I could sell it. So I would put it out there on Craigslist and Facebook and Facebook Marketplace and signs, and I'll call realtors. And the first one I ever did was the first realtor I ever called. I was like, hey, what's it worth? Can you list it on the MLS for me? I had it under contract for $300, 300 US dollars. It's actually, to be exact, it was $285.
Per foot?
But it was not
per foot or total cost?
2 lots overlooking the Pike National Forest.
Oh, man.
And I have a friend named Dolph Del Roos. He was he's a commercial real estate investor, and he coached me for a while, paid him a bunch of money. We became friends. But he said, the opportunity of a lifetime will come around once a week as long as you're looking. And this was the opportunity of my lifetime at that point. It changed my entire life financially. It opened my eyes, but I said, I don't know what this land's worth, but $285 for 2 lots, I don't care if they're buildable or not, should be a no-brainer, right? But I have a big problem, Randy. I didn't have $285 back in 2016. I'm a second lieutenant in the United States Army. I own rental properties, and I didn't have the extra money because I was broke. So I went out.
All right.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. This is great. This is interesting.
Yeah, I went out and I looked at the land and brought my wife, my newborn baby, my buddy, who was also an Army officer that invested in stocks. And I was like, well, I had no clue what it's worth, but it's got to be worth more than $300. So let's buy it. So I called the real estate office that was super close by, and I was like, hey, what do you think this thing's worth? Could you list it for me on the multiple listing service and sell it for me? She goes, yeah, it's probably worth about $10,000. I am familiar with the area, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So that whole one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Right.
Is absolutely true.
Oh my goodness.
There's a great book called, I think it's The Red Paperclip. The guy trades from a paperclip to a house at the very end of the book. So I said, that's amazing. I'll call you back when I own it. I'm in the process of buying it. And the realtor literally, I think this was just a blessing from God. Honestly, I know it is. She made an offer. She said, what if I just bought it from you next week? And I was like, okay, let's do it. She said, I'll pay you $5,000 for it. And I was like, sold. And basically the following week, I brought my quit claim deed to the title insurance company that the seller wrote me. And then the title insurance company the next day gave me a certified check for $5,000. I just couldn't believe it. And
unbelievable.
Did another one that week. Another one very similar to that one. And it just kept rolling.
Wow. Okay, I already know people on this podcast, some of them anyways, being the jaded investor types that they are going to say, well, this guy got lucky. You know, he got super lucky. But like you say, you know, these blessings come out of the sky if you go looking for them. Yeah. And but that's an amazing story. $285. That's not even a legal cost here to purchase it. I mean, that's anyways, that's an amazing story.
Yeah, I did get lucky. I get lucky so much. I mean, you should see my second wife. My first wife was hot, but you should see my second wife. Even better. But anyhow,
old man. My heart. Good for you.
But I did get lucky. I got even luckier the second one. And you're right. Like I made $4,700 net profit on a couple hours of work. do you know what I would have to work in the military? That was almost 6 weeks of pay. And oh, by the way, when you're deployed, you work 24 hours a day. Yeah, you pretty much get about 4 hours of sleep sometimes, 7 days a week you're working.
Wow.
So I did the math and I was like, that was the easiest money I've ever earned in my life.
Yep.
So the next one, the lady calls me, she says, and it's funny, they knew what they wanted. They're like, just give me $500 for it. And I was like, okay. She told me, I don't know what you're going to do with this godforsaken land. This was 4.5 acres next to Fort Carson, Colorado, the Army base I was stationed on, landlocked by state land. And I went and took photos.
Mhm.
I got in trouble for doing that because I trespassed against the state land. But I put it on Craigslist.
Okay.
And I posted it. I didn't have any confidence in this land because I didn't think it was actually worth much, more than $500, but I just wanted my money back because I'm now using that $4,700 I
Right.
just made, and I need to grow it. I had credit cards to pay off.
Yeah.
My wife wanted her nails done, things like that. So
Well,
I
you know
put
what,
it.
the old expression, if you want a happy life, make sure you have a happy wife. That's
I try every
truer
day.
words were never said, let me tell you.
I
Okay,
try
so
every day.
all right, but now you got some cash you can work with, and you're buying landlocked land near an army base that you really probably can't do anything. Like you can't really build there, can you? Right on
No,
the
you
edge.
couldn't build on this land because
Yeah.
it was not accessible. It was landlocked. So someone had to spend thousands of dollars to get access. But if they ever do, they've got probably 500 grand worth of land because 5 acres in that area now, it's right
Yeah.
next to NORAD. That's where they track Santa Claus. Huge, huge money. I wish I'd have never sold that land. But anyhow, I put it on Craigslist for $500 down and 400 a month. I sold this one for 5 grand too. And the next day, someone brought $500 to my house, and each month I would either go pick it up from him or he would bring
Brent,
it to me for $400.
so now you got cash flow. Not only do you have a big whack of cash from the first one, but now you got cash flow coming in $400 a month. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
listening.
It was covering my Z71 Chevy truck payment,
All right.
and it hit me like a ton of bricks one day, and I mean good bricks, not the bad ones, but it hit me, and I was like, oh my God, Emily, if we do this 10 more times, we're financially free because our bills are not more than 4,500 a month.
Right.
I had some rentals too, by the way. They were dragging me down. I could never quit my job with my rentals. And we did it. I was at almost 12 grand a month by about a year and a half of doing this. 12 grand a month net each month coming because I kept selling this stuff on payments. And then I started doing bigger land deals, and it's like now other people are lending me money to buy this land, and now I'm just becoming the bank. Literally, I borrow money from you, Randy, for 9%. I borrow 50,000, and I sell the land for 110,000 at 12%, and it's just like positive arbitrage. So I'm just following what the banks do, but my product is land.
Brent, that is amazing. Okay, you're talking to a long-term realtor here. That's an amazing story. Keep going, man. It mushroomed. So wait a minute now. Okay, but the initial thing that you were doing is you were contacting people who were in trouble with their back taxes, and
Yeah.
it's a little hard for us to do that in Canada. We have a little more privacy regulation than the U.S. has. But anyways, what you're doing though is you're seeking an opportunity where there is distress. These people are in trouble. They need to sell. They need money, so they're going to sell stuff that's not essential, and they're basically giving it away. Yeah,
Some of them do.
yeah. I mean,
So a lot of our Canadian friends that we have quite a few Canadians in our land shark community, and you guys are just, they're just, how do I say it, man? These Canadians that they go in, they go in and they'll get their LLC in the United States and just come in like a shark. And I'm just like, look at some of the deals Claude Byron's doing. I'm just like, holy cow, you make me feel small with my real estate business, which is awesome to see it happening. But I mean, we just bought a piece of land in Texas, and now let me just tell you, this is work. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat this for anybody. It's all work. Right. It's a business. There's ups and downs. Like, not every one of my deals goes perfect all the time.
sure.
But I haven't lost money in land yet. I've lost money in houses. It was a perfect storm in 2021. I sold 2 houses because I was flipping houses too.
Mm-hmm.
I was feeding my ego. I wanted to impress my buddies, so I was like, well, you're flipping houses, I should flip houses too. So I ended up losing money on two big houses on big property, all at the same time as a massive $120,000 tax bill came in because I made a lot of money with land. And here's the negative part about land. You don't have a tax shelter in the United States when you buy land. So you got to take that land money and put it into buildings like light industrial. So now we've changed that up as well. So you're always going to have a new challenge in business. So now I made a bunch of money and then I reinvested it in land and houses, and I just lost money on two houses and I had no money to pay the IRS. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
And they have no sense of humor.
No, they're just
up on this side of the border either. I don't know why that is. They just don't have any sense of humor.
It's like they go in and find the most unhappy, painful people and then put them in the IRS office. I just not.
Some things are universal, man. Really. Okay, so all right, so that's very interesting. And you mentioned that you have a company now called Land Sharks. Land Sharks.
Yeah,
that's your
the
company.
Land Sharks. Yep.
The
Land
Land
Sharks.
Sharks. Is it thelandsharks.com? Is that what it is?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Okay, so because I'm going to put your contact information underneath the video and in the podcast area as well, in case people want to reach out to you. Most of my audience is Canadian, but as you just mentioned, Canadians love to buy land in the United States and property in the United States.
Let's go.
So maybe we can help boost your Canadian. Yeah, we'll boost your Canadian business a little bit, anyways.
I love it.
So, but okay, so it's remarkable, man. And I know so many real estate investors who, they're forgetting the basic rule that you want to buy low and sell high. And we went through a thing up here in the Toronto area where prices are really high, and it's a point now where you can't make any money. Like the prices are too high. If you're buying a house, or a lot of people buy condos up here, so it's like a condo apartment, but the rent that you get from that property cannot cover your expenses. So it's negative equity, right? It's negative cash flow where you're having to put in a couple of hundred every month to maintain your property in the hope of a capital.
Sounds like my couple of my rental houses.
I know. And then all of a sudden you get a default and there's all sorts of problems because the tenants have way too many rights here. That's all I'm going to say. And it's difficult to get rid of them if they stop paying. Every jurisdiction's a little different, but here it's tough.
I'm working on that right now. I've got one of those as well. So it's
a nightmare.
Always something.
Yeah,
always
it's a nightmare to try to get them out. It can take you 6 months or more to get them out. But okay, this is nice. So you've got vacant land. You're not dealing with tenants. You're not dealing with issues where the furnace conked out or the roof is leaking, where you have to go do a repair, that kind of thing. That's really interesting. So you mentioned you were looking in Texas and Colorado. Do you work the entire U.S. or are you focused on Florida, or whereabouts do you go?
U.S. is massive, just like Canada. But I love the southeastern part of the United States.
Me too.
Texas is great. Colorado's great.
Yeah.
I really want to go where the buying and selling is happening.
Yep.
Where I see demand, because I've done enough stuff in the middle of nowhere. Where I had to create demand. It's way easier to fill demand than it is to go out and create demand.
Yep.
And honestly, it's crazy. It's just like once you kind of get that red farmhouse pump primed, once you get it primed, the water will keep coming out as long as someone's pumping it or you have a machine pumping it. So it's just, you got to get that pump primed. And I just want people to hear, don't listen to all this volume. It only takes, for me, if I was still on my Army salary, those first two deals I did in that 1 month time period tripled my income. And I felt, honestly, I was like, I'm rich. Doing those deals. I mean, really, you just, to have passive income gives you eventually financial freedom and then geography freedom and time freedom. Totally. And that's really all I wanted. I wasn't trying to become wealthy. Honestly, I still am not. I feel wealthy right now, but it's because I can choose what I want to do with my days.
Yep. Totally agree. So, okay. So that's all you got to do. You just got to find people who are distressed. They got extra property they don't need, buy it for cheap, flip it, sell it for more, or on a payment schedule where you're getting that passive income coming in. That's it. Okay, I've taken my notes. Thank you, sir. It's been a great interview. Thanks, Brent. Have a good one, man. It was nice meeting you. I'm joking, of course, but I know there must be a lot of typically, you must do a lot of consulting with people. who come down, whether they're Canadian or American or whether they're from, I don't know, from Germany, whatever, wherever they're coming from. They're gonna ask you, okay, what should we look for? Typically, if you were giving some guidance to somebody, like what's the sort of property that you, apart from the dollar amount, because some people got a
Yeah.
big budget, some have a small budget, but what are the characteristics of property that would make it attractive? And again, you're not going to
Yeah.
buy out something in the middle of the desert in Arizona where you're 100 miles from anywhere, right? Or
That's
would
funny you
you?
say that.
Would
I
you?
bought 123 of those parcels, and I finally sold the last one like 2 weeks ago. Um,
Okay, wait a minute. Okay,
yeah.
why did you buy over 123 parcels of land out in the desert in Arizona? Was it close to a major urban area or what was it?
No, it's in the Apache National Forest. So I'm a deal
Okay.
junkie. So I bought these for about 300 a piece, and I was selling them for about 4,400 each.
Well, that again, $300 each, and you're selling
Yeah.
for 4,400. Okay, that I understand. I
And a
understand the
lot of them were
logic.
selling them on financing at like 9 and 12% interest, where they make $100 a month payment. So it's quite a few of those are paying me, but it's a lot of work to sell those. You can't find realtors to do it for you, so
No,
you pretty much have
no,
to do
there's
it
no money.
yourself.
How much commission can you make even on 4,400? Not much. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your
No,
time.
these realtors laugh when you call them
You're
about
you're
that.
you're gassed. You're going to spend more on gas than you will on the commission if it
Yeah,
sells, right? Okay, that's really
literally.
interesting. But you see an opportunity there. Obviously, you've got a great insight there. Okay, so pretend I'm a novice. Okay, I've got a little bit of cash. I come to you in your office in Florida, and I say, "Look, I'm interested. I want to invest $10,000
Hmm.
somewhere in the USA. Uh, you tell me what's a good place to invest, and I won't hold you to this, but just an example. I got $10,000. I'd like to put it into some land. Would you recommend, the Northwest in the Seattle area, or in
Yeah.
Arizona, or what about the Midwest, or the farming country in Kansas or something? Or would you go to Florida, or would you try to capitalize? I mean, right now California is going through a pretty hard time. Are there some opportunities there? Are there some possible deals to be found there? I don't know. I honestly don't
There's
know.
deals everywhere. There's deals everywhere. There's always deals. You
Okay,
know,
good,
they
good.
don't, they talk about everyone coming out of California and selling, but they don't talk about all the people that are coming outside of the United States into California.
Okay, that's true.
So,
That and
you
South
know,
Florida too. South
oh
Florida.
my
I mean, all the
gosh.
condos down there in Miami, most of them are bought by people from South America. I
Yeah,
think,
it's
right?
it's wild. It's wild how many people are moving to Florida every single day.
Yeah.
What they don't talk about is the mosquitoes and the bugs and the heat runs quite a few of them out too. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all like, I mean, right now I'm looking outside. It's like 65 degrees and sunny, like,
Don't
and the
tell me
grass
that.
is green. So,
Okay, it's sunny here too, but it's about maybe in Fahrenheit, it's probably about 25. So don't tell me that.
oof,
Don't tell me
ouch.
that.
Yeah.
However, Brent, I used to go to, before I was in my real estate career, I worked for a big US company that was based in Texas, right? So I used to go to Dallas all the time. Been there like 60 times. I should have kept a log, but I didn't. And I've been there in the winter and the spring, and I've also been in Dallas and Houston once in the summer. And let me tell you, especially Houston, I was there in like August once, and man, like you have to be used to that kind of weather. It is really hot. They suffer in the summer
Hmm.
the way we suffer in the winter. But I like
Yeah.
Florida. I love Florida. And I know several people who've bought properties there who are very happy with their investments.
Oh yeah.
So, but
Well,
what would you okay, go ahead. Sorry.
you asked about how to make money with 10 grand on land. Are
But
you
is
looking?
that realistic? Or
Yeah.
like not everybody's going
Yeah.
to find a property for $300. I mean,
I
that's
didn't
a
start out with 10 grand.
well,
Um,
typical investor.
so if I had 10 grand, I wouldn't buy a piece of land with it. I would take half of that money and send out what I call land offer letters. So you go in and find where the land's selling. Let's just say it's Georgia. I just did a deal in Georgia,
Okay.
in the United States. Find a neighborhood where land's selling in Georgia. Price that neighborhood out. See what it's selling for by the square foot or by the acre.
Right.
You can do that with Redfin,
Yep.
free tools,
Right
and
on.
then go and send what I call land offer letters. Anybody can get a copy of this. If they want to get a copy of it, just go to thelandsharks.com/LOL, as in land offer letter, and make an offer. So I'm going to use really round numbers. Let's just say those lots are selling for $50,000 a piece.
Okay.
We'll go in and offer $30,000 for each one of them for the entire neighborhood with that land offer letter. Send them a purchase agreement, and they can either mail it back to you or fax it back to you. And once they do that, most people will absolutely, 99% of people are going to reject your offer. They're not going to take it. They might even call you and scream at you for sending that offer.
I've
Just
been
be
there.
prepared for that. Well, I have a rhinoceros behind me.
I was wondering about that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you think that guy's worried about
No.
someone screaming at him?
No.
So he's got a huge horn and his skin is 3 inches thick. So if you want to make a lot of money in business, you got to be tough. And there's only one way to get tough. It's go out there and just make the offers. Every day we got to make offers. So I make offers every single day for $30,000 when it's worth $50,000. Now I got this guy that wants to sell me his land for $30,000. Well, I go and see who's paying the $50,000 for that land, and I sell him that land, and I give him a discount. I'll sell it to him for $40,000 if he does it quick, like 15 days or less. So I got a piece of land under contract for $30,000. Randy, you want to buy it for $40 because you're used to paying $50 because you're a builder and you're getting a smoking hot deal. And you're like, where do I wire the money? So I just made 10 grand by making an offer. So I didn't spend my 10 grand on land. I spent half of that money on marketing. I'm a marketing expert. That's it. I'm not a real estate expert. I'm
Brent,
practicing real estate.
You are doing what you're supposed to be doing. I can tell you without a doubt. You are gifted in this. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, really. Because who hustles like that? Not everybody. Even realtors don't hustle. They're waiting for the phone to ring. But you're out there hustling. You're sending out letters. And yes, rejection is a part of this industry for sure. 100%.
Oh, yeah. I'm married to a woman. I get rejected almost 3 times a week. The men all understand what I'm talking about here.
Yes, definitely. Okay, you got me there a little bit tongue-tied for a second, but you're absolutely right. And but it is, and rejection. I used to have a real estate coach years and years ago, and he told us that, and he worked it out as a numeric basis. Like if you do 150 cold calls, you're going to get rejected 149 times. But it's the last one that finally says, "Yeah, come on over. We're thinking of selling the house." So you have to put up with you have to every time you get every time you get a rejection, that's a good thing because you're one step closer to the guy who's going to accept you and allow you into the house. So you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. But
let's go back to that 150 calls because I literally just hung up with the land shark. He's brand new. He's like 25 years old.
Okay.
Just got married, about to have a baby. He's like, I sent my letters. I spent a lot of money. I'm really nervous right now. I said, great. You should be. Now make 25 calls a day. So we get to that 150 calls in like 7 days, right?
Yeah.
We do 25. Like that's, people look at the 150 calls. You don't have to do that in one sitting.
Right. Just to do it. Man, I was out there. I was one of those guys doing cold calling and door knocking back in the day when I was a young man, young like you.
That's where you get your rhino strength from the door knocking. That's everyone should have to door knock for 1 year and live off commission by 100%. We'd have we'd have some tough people that way because that's what I did. I did that.
I've had doors slammed in my face when I'm holding my business card. Hi, and it's slam. If we want you, we'll call you. I got chased by a German Shepherd once.
Oh yeah.
I actually thought he was going to eat me though. I really did. And anyways, that's another story. But those are the days, and it's the hustlers who get the business. It absolutely is. You got to go out there. You got to be motivated, but you're creative, man. You are. Like you're doing some really good stuff. And I like the idea of the quick flip. That's what's happening. That's what works in today's world. Again, we go back to traditional real estate, and so many investments have negative cash flow now. It's hard to make money, but what you're doing is brilliant, I think. Seriously.
Yeah, it works. It's just the basics. It's nothing brilliant about it. I mean, it's genius because it's so simple. But there's not, like, this is like the oldest business. Before the house became the land.
Yep.
And no one's emotional about this land. They didn't live on it. Most of the time they don't go to it. And it's way easier to talk someone into selling their land at a discount than the house they raised their 6 children in. Because we're always told our house is our biggest investment.
It is.
And maybe maybe you don't want to start a real estate investing business. There's other ways to make money in this.
I'm I'm intrigued by the administration, how you must keep track because you've got a pretty good business going there. How do you keep track of all these deals? You must have an accounting department. You know,
Yeah.
you got checks coming in from multiple sources every month. What if they don't come in that month? I mean, there's all sorts of things when you're running a proper business there. It's not a one man operation. No way.
So remember we talked about the challenges in business. So I had no clue the
Yep.
mess I
Yep.
was leaving behind me when I had almost 100 notes paying me every single month.
How could you keep track?
Plus,
I could keep track of that.
oh, trust me, we have double sold land a couple times, and I've had to refund people. I've had to go and fix stuff with warranty deeds.
Oh boy.
I have an accounting team that's trying to fix all this. My office manager is about to lose her mind right now because we just brought on a new accountant. We have 350 plus parcels of land in inventory. We just got through tax season where we were paying all the taxes on this land, so I didn't become one of those sellers that I used to buy from. You name it. There's always a challenge. And I'm not good at any of that stuff, so I find someone that'll help me
Good. Good.
with it. I'm terrible at paying bills. Like, I hate sitting down and paying bills. Because I don't want to spend the money. So
It's paperwork. It's paperwork.
yeah,
Huh? Yep.
I'd rather talk to people all day long and negotiate and go sit on someone's couch and negotiate and that's what I'm good at. So I do what I do best, and I have other people help me out with the rest.
So when someone signs up for your coaching at the Land Sharks, what does your program give to them? Can you give us just a sort of
Yeah.
an overview?
And I can't take on too many people. I keep it really light because, again, I want to make sure that someone gets a huge quality, because I don't want to be another guru out there with another course. Like, no one wants to join another course. You can go to YouTube and learn all this stuff on my YouTube channel. But what they get with the Land Sharks method is they get my entire land business laid out in a step-by-step, methodical, instruction-based, where they take action with me along with the videos. They're like 15 minutes each video, but we walk through the steps step by step so they get a result as quick as possible. Because I assume that if someone comes in and they pay for coaching, they need a result like yesterday. Like, I'm not going to teach you how to create a logo or a website or a business name or an LLC. That doesn't make you money. Like that land shark I was talking about, he's like, well, what can I be doing with my spare time? Should I be learning and watching videos? I was like, heck no. Income producing activities, like you said, knocking on doors, making calls. Like, that's scary though. Well, then send more letters. The reason why I think people love this method is because it's the introvert's way of making offers all day long. And not having to really talk to people. I've done so many deals where
Interesting.
it was all email.
Yep.
And I hate email. It overwhelms me to look at my inbox.
Don't get me started. I don't know about you. I get like 200 emails a day. I can't keep up with it. It's too much. It's just too much. And
Yes.
most of it's spam. I suspect a lot of your emails are income generating emails, but not so much for me. You have to sort
Sometimes.
through them though. You have to sort through them because there's one or two gems in there all the time.
That's right.
Okay.
That's why my assistant hopefully keeps a good eye on it. She sends me emails all the time. You should probably check this. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. So you are offering a training course, but it's limited. You're not taking on 500 new students. And would you say that the principles that you teach could be used not just within the United States, but if a foreigner, let's say from Canada, wanted to do the same thing in Alberta, that the principles would still apply? You could still do it even up in Canada.
They apply, but again, you guys have privacy rules. So a lot of the Canadians that come into the Land Sharks community, they'll buy right here in the United States. We'll help them get started with that.
Yeah.
We do weekly support calls where they get on and share their wins. I've got an assistant coach that helps me. They get direct access to me. So we're not just telling them what to do. We're there to hold their hands along the way. I even fund their deals. Not everyone needs that service, but
Right.
yeah. So it's just that's kind
know
of what's offered.
I know up here the banks can get a little bit nervous if you have too many properties, believe it or not. If you get up to, is it the same in the U.S. where you get to a certain number, they say, well, you got all these investment properties, and maybe we're kind of at a limit here. We don't want to lend you any more money. Do you have that situation?
I hardly use banks at all these days. The only time I use banks now is to buy like a commercial building. because I got to take that land money and invest it into something else, so it keeps creating more money, and I save a bunch of money on taxes by doing that.
Amazing. That's another issue. We have different tax system up here, which you're probably aware of. We don't get to deduct our mortgage interest. We don't get to do that on any property. You guys do. So that's something I wish we had. That's a topic for another podcast someday. But anyway, so very good. And what are your thoughts about? This is a little off topic, maybe, but your thoughts about the general direction of the real estate market going forward in 2025? There seems. I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I can tell you up here in Canada, in the Toronto area especially, there's a lot of uncertainty. We've got interest rates that are coming down. They actually came down again a quarter point this morning. Our version of the Fed took the rates down another quarter point just this morning. But it's still, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's some political stuff going on in the world, which we won't get into, that creates worry. And yet, there's certain people like the Warren Buffetts of the world that said that's the time to buy when people are worried and they're not, they want to unload stuff. Would you see it that way, or what's your feelings? And again, I'm not going to hold it to you, put your feet to the fire here, but how do you feel about the general market in North America going forward through 2025?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm not gonna stop. I'm a dollar cost averager, so I'm always going to be buying and selling. No matter what the market's doing, there's always going to be opportunity. I have no clue what it's going to do, though. God doesn't consult me on what's going to happen. But
I hear you. I get that too. As if I had a crystal ball, I'd let you know, or I'd go out and buy 100 properties. But nobody seems to know for sure. But I kind of like it. To me, we were in a situation here 5 years ago where it was all bidding wars. Everything, the prices were going up. People were overbidding on everything. And I think there's pockets in the States, places I was reading about Austin, Texas, where it just went bananas. People were just paying $100,000 over the asking price on everything. And that's not, in my view, that's not the time to buy. That's the time where you're
worst time to buy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yet people get caught up in it. I remember talking to one couple, we were bidding on a house, and they said, well, how much should we offer? Because there was like 20 offers on this house. I said
as much as possible.
I said, how reckless do you want to be? I mean, it's crazy. Now we don't have that anymore. The bidding wars are gone, and it's a much more normal market. Vacant land again, and my confession to you, man, I've never helped in 31 years anybody to buy or sell vacant land, and I think I've been missing the boat here. I really do.
It's not too late. There's still plenty of it.
That's true. But they're not making any more of it either. That's another thing.
Well, I mean, that's true. They're not making any more of it. I've got 38 acres. We're turning it into 80 lots, 10,000 square foot. So technically, I kind of am making more assessor's parcel numbers or more parcels, but I'm not making any more actual land.
But see, now there's value added being created right there, though, for sure.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's like going to quadruple the value of the land.
Right. So. Where do you, you told me about sending out those letters for people who had their taxes in arrears. For someone who doesn't have access to that specific data, are there any other ways that a person could find distressed properties, or just is it simply a matter of sending out letters or maybe doing cold calls? That kind of thing?
And it doesn't have to be distressed. They could be out of state, they can be in state, they could be right next door. Sometimes they just want to sell it. They can just go to the landsharkslist.com and they can pull a list of people for free. It doesn't have to be distressed. There will be distressed people in there, though, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's very interesting, Brent, honestly. Again, I'm going to put your contact information underneath the video today, no problem. And I love it. I love what you're saying here. It's connecting with me. And basically, people forget you have to go out and look for bargains. You have to go and look for value, and then make use of that. And so, God bless you, man. That's great. And,
thanks for having me. I appreciate you very much.
My pleasure. Yeah, it was nice talking to you, really. And next time, maybe I'll finally get fed up with the weather up here and decide to become a snowbird. Although
Come on down.
Be careful.
Plenty of room.
Yeah, well, that's true. So anyways, once again, Brent Bowers, it's a pleasure talking to you today. And you have a wonderful day. I'm sure my viewers are going to enjoy this one in a big way. And you're welcome to come back on the podcast anytime. Anytime.
Thank you. God bless, Randy. Appreciate you very
Okay.
much.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.